When it comes to the NCAA tournament and the Badgers, the Sweet 16 is pretty much a guarantee. Wisconsin has advanced to the Sweet 16 in each of the last 10 seasons. That's a decade of sweetness. UW looking to make it 11 straight trips, just have to get past Miami, who they swept in the regular season. First set was a bit of a battle. Sarah Franklin doing what she does. The cross-court kill, one of her 13 on the night. Then later in the set, Izzy Ashburn with the back set to Devin Robinson, and she brings the heat. Badgers, though, trailed for a majority in the first, but Anna Smrek brought out the hammer. Team-high 15 kills from her. Wisconsin takes it in straight sets. They'll face Penn State Thursday in the Sweet 16.
I think we practice a lot for big moments, so even, someone say, like, for example, this is Temmie's very first tournament with us, and I mean, she's coming out there confident and taking courageous swings, so I think it's honestly how we train and the mentality that we go into the match with. We're confident in ourselves and what happens when we stick together in our plays, and that carries us through, and that's what's giving us another opportunity in this tournament.
Mike Hastings' message to his team this week is simple. Protect home ice and be ready for anything against Ohio State. The Buckeyes are winless in the Big Ten, so they really have nothing to lose in this series. Wisconsin trying not to be the first one to lose to Ohio State in conference play. No score in the first. Zach Schultz comes up with a loose puck and then just fires one on net. Good things happen when you do that. Schultz lights the lamp to give the Badgers the lead, and that would be the game winner. Wisconsin shuts out Ohio State 3-0, the final. Wisconsin's men's basketball is approaching the gauntlet part of their schedule. Their next 3 games, number 3 Marquette, a road trip to Michigan State, and then they're headed to Tucson for a date with second-ranked Arizona. But first things first, it's the I-94 rivalry against the Golden Eagles, a team that likes to push the pace. Shaka Smart Squad enters Saturday's showdown, averaging 81 points per game.
Obviously they want to go, and we've done that a little bit more this year, but, we've always kind of had we got to be able to control the pace and do what we do and not get sped up too much, but not get slowed down as well. So, I feel like we're really just kind of play our ball.
I feel like every game we play, it's about us, and so that's going to be taking care of the ball, doing what we want to do, force them into tough shots, get the rebound, and really just kind of wear them out. So I think at the end of the day, we got to do what we got to do.
High school girls hoops, La Follette hosting Memorial in a Big A battle, and it was a big night for Elena West. The Lancer senior takes it to the cup for 2+1, and that one was a big one. The free throw was West's 1,000th career point. She joins Megan Rogers as the only other Lancer in program history to be in the 1K club. West finished with 22 points, but the Spartans would continue their hot start in conference play. Kennedy Harden knocks down the triple as Memorial beats La Follette 69-65. We're back after this. For the first time in 3 weeks, the boys are back together for the final week of the regular season. I'm Zach Hanley. He's Andrew Banstra. This is the final drive.
Yeah, and it's been a minute, but it feels good to be back together. And as always, we start with our game of the week.
Lodi already clinched a share of the Capital Conference crown, but the Blue Devils aren't interested in sharing. A win tonight, they'd win it outright and wrap up a perfect regular season. Lake Mills trying not to let that happen. Lodi already up 13-0 in the second. Kyler Clemens, so fast, he's a blur on your screen. The senior says, "Get off me not once, but twice," and is finally taken down at the 5. And that has the Blue Devils knocking on the door in Mason Lane. Going to call his own number and runs right through it to make it a 3-score game. And that Lodi offense is so good, it kind of fogged up our camera. Later in the second, it's Lane again, and again he's in for 6. Blue Devils dominate 48-0.
Verona secured a share of the Big 8 title last week, and a win over Madison West tonight would secure it outright for the championship. Meanwhile, a win for West would spell their first 3+ win season since 2019, and they'd have to do it in the pouring rain. First quarter, Verona leads 14-0. West's Ian Ladd punts from his own end zone, and it lands in Trey Poteet's hands. You can try to catch one of the state's best athletes, but you won't. Poteets returns it for the touchdown, and if I'm Luke Fickell, I'm calling this junior right now. Wildcats take a 21-0 lead, and then later in the first, West trying to get something going. Michael Sumian lobs one up, and it's intercepted. Nate Novinska brings it back about 10 yards, and that would set out this. The Wildcats from the 2, Elijah Lagomasino hands off to Chase Bredesen, and he weaves his way into the end zone. Verona wins the Big 8, and they win big, 37-12 the final score. Elsewhere in the Big 8, Madison Memorial closes out the regular season on a high note. They beat Janesville Craig 31-7.
Pat Rice might not say it, but since week 1, Wanakee has been a well-oiled machine. Through 8 weeks, his team has posted 4 shutouts while averaging nearly 50 points per game. That's what Beaver Dam was up against tonight. First quarter, Wanakee already up 3-0. Sully Scotton bulls his way in to make it 10-0 Warriors. Then later in the first, Vance Johnson off the play action, sets his feet and chucks it deep to David Emmerich. 40 yards on the score. Wanakee rolls 52-0.
What a magical run it's been for Mount Horeb Barneveld. Not only are they looking to finish up their regular season undefeated, they look for their 3rd straight Badger Small title. Standing in their way was Portage and a whole lot of rain. First quarter, and stop me if you've heard this one before, Casey Helgeson finds his man Chris Keel. Everyone's spinning their wheels in today's rain, but Keel's got speed for days. He's off to the races, and the Vikings take an 8-0 lead. And then later in the first quarter, MHB from the 2-yard line, and they feed to Trenton Owens, who finds the promised land. Mount Horeb Barneveld takes a 16-0 lead. Second quarter, late in it, these Vikings will air it out, rain or shine, and they prove it here. Helgeson finds Landon Ellistad for the big gainer, which would set up this. Mount Horeb just trying to punch it in, hand it off to Trenton Owens, and no one is touching number 2. Mount Horeb finishes the regular season undefeated and wins the Badger Small again. Vikings win it 48-25, the final. Elsewhere in the Badger Conference, Sun Prairie East moved to 7-2 with a dominating 53-6 win over Stoughton. And congrats to Oregon, winning their first conference game of the season. A shocker 19-17, the final over Sun Prairie West.
Platteville has won in just about every way possible this season. They've won close, low-score games, shootouts, and lately in dominating fashion. The Hillmen have posted back-to-back shutouts. Platteville's first ever game of the night at their brand-new football stadium. First quarter, Hillman with the ball and on the move. Tyler Sassy. Just throw up the deuces because that man is gone. 55 yards to the house. Platteville goes up 7-0. Now they'd get the ball back and turn a turnover into points. TJ Pink finds Seth Wilson, and he finds the end zone. Hillman go up 14-0, and it was more of the same in the second. Sassy, give him the ball and get out of the way. He runs in untouched for another tutty. Sweet Sassy Molassie, Platteville takes it 45-0. Down in the Swamp, Darlington wrapped up a perfect record in conference play with a 49-0 win over Fenimore, while Mineral Point topped Cuba City 14-7. And Columbus closed out the regular season with a big road win over New Glarus Monticello, while Lancaster took down Broadhead Judah in a battle of top teams from the SWC. And still to come, Mr. 600. The Win Club Mark Johnson joined thanks to another fast start on the ice by the Badger women's hockey team. More sports after the break. You could say all Mark Johnson does is win. 9 WCHA regular season titles, 9 conference tournament titles, 7 national championships, and 599 career wins to his name. One more, Johnson will become a member of the Elite 600 Win Club, something only 8 other Division I men's or women's hockey coaches have done. First period, Badgers on the power play, and they work it around to Kirsten Sims, who sends one into the back of the net. Sims finished with 2 goals alone in the first period. And then later in the first, KK Harvey. Gonna go top shelf for the shorthander, all Wisconsin in this one. They win 9-0 to give Mark Johnson win number 600. Mike Hastings and the UW men on the road at Bemidji State. Third period, they're down 3-2. That is until Simon Tassi deflects it in to tie the game up. This one still tied at 3 in overtime. Cruz Lucius gonna play hero. On the breakaway, Lucius gets his own rebound and calls game for his second goal of the night. Badgers beat the Beavers 4-3 in OT. You could say that the Wisconsin volleyball team is rolling right now. They've won 21 straight sets and are 1 win away from tying the program record for the best start to a season. Did I mention they've won 24 straight Big Ten games? Let's just say I wouldn't want to be Rutgers right now. Badgers up 2-0 in the third. Sarah Franklin hammers one off a Scarlet Knight for one of her game-high 16 kills. Then later, another big swing. This time, Izzy Ashburn sets up Anna Smrek for a Smrek smack. She finished with 10. Wisconsin wins with ease. They sweep Rutgers and move to 16-0. Wisconsin's game against Iowa is much more than just the next game on the schedule. It's Luke Fickell's first rivalry game as the head Badger, and it just might decide who wins the Big Ten West. And every time these two get together, you can just feel it. It's a classic old-school Big Ten battle with two teams trying to impose their will on each other, with the tougher, more physical team coming out on top.
I mean, this is the reason that myself and a lot of this team came to Wisconsin, is for games like this, for games that are about who's tougher. So this is the stuff that we live for, that we're here for.
That's part of the reason we respect the program so much, is the way they operate, the way they hold themselves, the standards they have within the program are similar to ours. So we know it's going to be a tough fall football game, and no matter what the weather is, at the end of the day, you got to go play for 60 minutes or however long it takes.
We're back after this. The Wisconsin men were in Eugene tonight for the NIT quarterfinals, and some Oregon fans wanted to have some fun and rile up the entire state of Wisconsin with a sign that says, "Cheese curds are overrated." Two issues with this. One, it's factually incorrect, and two, they misspelled overrated. There are two R's. Now, as far as the game, Badgers 2-1 all-time in postseason play against the Ducks, and Max Klesmit came to play. The junior drops home the floater plus the foul. He finished with a game-high 18. Then, under a minute to go, Chucky Hepburn provides that dagger. The triple puts Wisconsin up for good. They survive and advance to go to Vegas with a 61-58 win. So Wisconsin will face North Texas next Tuesday with a spot in the NIT championship on the line. Ever since Luke Fickell was introduced as Wisconsin's next head football coach, there's been a buzz around Madison. And since that day, Fickell has hit the ground running, bringing a star-studded coaching staff, adding a high-profile transfers, and targeting big-time recruits. All of that, plus the guys he has returning, as expectations through the roof for this fall. Everybody is talking about Wisconsin football, and that's quite all right with Coach Fickell.
There's not energy out there, there's not excitement about it, then you got to worry, And people ask, well, how do you handle expectations? There's nothing greater than having expectations. Let's be honest. I mean, the internal pressure, the things that are put upon yourself, you get to find out who you are, and it's much better, than the other way. I know that. And so we love it. I love it.
On the ice, Britta Curl, KK Harvey, Casey O'Brien, Lacey Eden, Nicole Lamontia, and Jesse Comfer won't have much time to celebrate that national championship. The 6 Badgers are heading to Blaine, Minnesota next week to compete in the U.S. Women's National Team's evaluation camp, with hopes of landing a spot on the women's national team and skate in this year's Women's World Championship.
Just a nuisance.
Spring training baseball, Brewers taking on the White Sox. They're down 1-0 in the second. Mike Brasso changes that with one big swing. His 2-run bomb puts the Crew up 2-1. But that lead won't last long. Brewers lose 6-5 in a game that doesn't count. Only 7 more spring training games until opening day at Wrigley on the 30th. We're back after this.